What's up, ladies, gentlemen, everything in between and on the outskirts. Welcome to khazaraanime, where I'll attempt to give my thoughts in a reviewers type manner on anime that I've been watching or is recommended by people for me to take a look at. Today we're going to be talking about the first season of Kaiju No. 8. First off, Kaiju No. 8 is based off the manga created by Naoya Matsumoto. In 2024, Production IG would then create the anime adaptation what we have today. Directed by Tomoe Kamiya, who has done storyboard and key animations for a lot of other titles, including Attack on Titan, Mob Psycho 100, Be the Beginning, Carbonari of the Iron Fortress, and even Ghost in the Shell Arise. Shugeo Kimiya, who directed The Blood Lad, Aioi Bangaku, and even this old anime series that I used to have on DVD known as Soul Taker, along with many other anime series. Kaiju No. 8's anime would then be written by Ichiro Okosuki, who has done novels and literally wrote every anime series pertaining to Code Geass, Carbonari of the Iron Fortress, Devilman Crybaby, Skate the Infinity, Berserk Golden Age arc, and contribute to many other titles as well. Season 1 is composed of 12 episodes, so let's talk about the story. So the story of Kaiju No. 8 is centered around this 32-year-old underachiever who goes by the name of Kafka Hobino, and also his struggles to essentially become somebody of importance. When he was little, his dream was to become one of the best soldiers in the defense force, which after understanding what that means is quite the task, especially since he made that promise to himself and to a close friend when he was little. Reality and time seemed to respond to Kafka's inspiring aspiration of his dream with such a profound disappointing answer. You see, time has flew by, and instead of being a part of the defense force, he is just not part of this cleanup organization, which is equivalent to your trash man, or what you can see as being the city's janitor. And what exactly do they clean, you ask? Well, it's the aftermath of corpses of giant monsters known as kaijus. Oh yeah, that's right. You see, this anime takes place in Japan, and it's here that monsters huge and normal size just so happens to attack, which is kind of funny because me and this guy just got finished watching this film belonging to a well-known franchise on Netflix dealing with monsters who attack areas of the same region. But anyway, what Japan has to stand up against them is the anti-kaiju defense force, or just defense force, that I mentioned earlier. Armed with state-of-the-art technology to enhance their physical capabilities beyond human limitations, these soldiers are deployed into areas to eradicate these monsters, while Kafka for the most part just goes out and cleans up the aftermath by any means necessary. Whether it's sawing through the bone cartilage, enduring the smell as he dries up the organs, or cleaning the bowels of these monsters, he has to do it. You remember when I said he made a promise to himself and to somebody else to become the best to destroy kaijus? Well, enter Mina Ashiro, a 27 high-ranking officer within a defense force who is highly decorated, extremely powerful, and to many others a source of inspiration to motivate others who want to aspire to be just like her. She is considered a hero to many and sort of serves as the polar opposite in regards to what both of the characters resulted into becoming over the years. Mina is well accomplished, popular, and living a life dedicated to her country. She lives in what is equivalent to a penthouse suite or better. She probably eats the best foods and lives a life worry-free of anything other than doing her job. Mina is among the upper class of society. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Kefka lives in what you may consider the less savory of conditions. But then a few events occurred that would inevitably result in revitalizing his dream to becoming one of the defense force members. And one of those pivotal moments was meeting a guy by the name of Rino Ichikawa. This guy here is what literally lights a fire up under our main protagonist behind, and through his actions motivates him to try one more time in going into the defense force. After a few more events occur out of the ordinary, Kafka ends up finding himself becoming this all-powerful humanoid kaiju. This seems pretty awesome at first, but that only complicates things because the very organization he aspires to be in mercilessly hunts down the very same thing that he is now. So us, as the viewer, are watching his rise through the ranks and how this little situation may actually be what makes him become a hero. Along the way, of course, we meet our supporting cast, which consists of Defense Force 3rd Division, a group of soldiers who come in at the same time as our main guys. All of them possesses great potential to become great individually, but as we see, it's the maturing of these guys as a team which would then take center stage. To me, the standouts would be Kikiro Shinomiya, a young, somewhat stuck-up prodigy whose potential could possibly make her the most powerful captain one day. Not just to her skill, but also because of her upbringing, seeing as though her father is someone very important. And also one of my favorite characters, Soshiro Hashima, the vice captain of the 3rd Division. He is playful, very observative, and caring as a leader. But one word of advice, do not make him angry. Do that and you'll be looking at death incarnate. This team will be fighting off kaijus, of course, but strange things begin to unfold with the appearance of other kaijus who's like Kefka, which are very different than the typical kaijus that they face off against, and more deadlier within their behavior and mannerisms. What exactly are they after and why seems to be the question. Now, as far as the presentation goes, this anime looks awesome. The amazing spectacle is quite something to see. I mean, we're dealing with kaijus here, which is essentially synonymous with just saying big monsters. Watching these beasts get destroyed and destroy other things with so much destructive power is what I love seeing. Observing the entrails of this colossal beast being smeared all over the surrounding buildings is a visceral manner in which it's just it's amazing. The best parts to me is when Kafka goes full kaiju and decides to become a demon itself and cause mayhem for the sake of protecting others, and in one particular instance, himself. The music of Kaiju No. 8 was done by Yuta Bando, a music composer and arranger who is credited for his contributing works in anime titles such as Yuri on Ice, alongside with other animated films such as Belle, It Comes, and Pupele of Chimney Town. Kaiju No. 8's original soundtrack contains some of the most eclectic, experimental, and hard-hitting tunes that blends electronic and avant-garde with a bit of badassery mixed in. One of my favorite tracks was the Defense Force theme. This song can perfectly serve as the intro of anybody or anything that wants to make themselves look cooler than what they are, especially with the guitar coming in. As a matter of fact, punk rock and bass guitar licks can be heard on quite a number of these tracks. But then, things kinda switch up when this song entitled Kaiju Sessions comes grooving its jazzy self into my ears, with the horn taking center stage being packed with an infectious bass and piano playing. Another one of my favorite tracks is entitled The Defense Force Screening. This song has the drums of what I would imagine a marching band have. Actually, it's the percussion that takes center stage, along with this mood bass going nuts in the background. There are most certainly other fire tracks on here, but I recommend you checking it out for yourself. Links will be in the description below where you can listen to this massive 64 tracks original soundtrack. The opening theme song, Abyss, was performed by singer and songwriter Dominique Harrison, popularly known as Youngblood. This song comes in with this punk rock tune and is a bit on the dark side, with the topic geared around isolation and fighting through despair. But in contrast to this song, the ending theme, Nobody, is this uplifting and fun, energetic vibe centered around loving and caring for somebody. It is performed by the world famous and arguably iconic band, the one and only One Republic. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this season of Kaiju No. 8. It was funny, action-packed, and really shed light on concepts I'm sure are relatable to anybody who believes that their age might not be a determining factor for one to try and make their dreams come true. Kefka embodies this so well, and that even in his character, he never allows his ego to get the better of him. This is shown during the many times he had to endure the wisecracking insults of his peers, embarrassment of his ranking and assessment, which only on paper equates to him being rather pathetic, but regardless of it all, he still maintained his positive outlook on things. However, his level of maturity is what makes him to be a hero and maintains this sense of humanity. His comrades most certainly serves as his support group to anchor him and keep him grounded. Without them, I would have hated to be humanity if that kaiju side of him was to ever be unleashed and unhinged. Do you know the level of destruction that would befall everybody? It would be biblical. But Kefka isn't the only one that possesses somewhat of an arc with a message though. Kikuro Shinoyama and her relationship with her father is something that the plot takes some time to give its attention to. Since her introduction, she has this personality of a brat, and due to her background, we as the viewer begin to understand why she pushes herself to the limits. The reason being is simply peer pressure. In her case, it's living up to the expectation established by the one that came before her. This type of issue is most certainly relatable to those connected to somebody who has become great. It feels like they cannot live life how they would want to because their individuality, let alone their identity, is not taken into consideration. I mean, how could it be when they are fighting to escape living under the overwhelming shadow of another? Any type of failure would feel like they have brought dishonor to their whole entire family, dishonor to themselves, dishonor on their cow, and yeah. To have that much weight on your shoulders constantly seems too exhausting. Soshiro Hashina is another example of how, regardless of what others may deem outdated, antiquated, useless, can actually be the very thing that will make you legendary, more useful than anything, and authentically unique, turning what one may believe to be a liability and weakness into a major asset and source of strength. There are a few more characters with whom the viewer will come to understand more as episodes go by, but to me personally, it's the relationship Kefka and Mino has that is interesting. Mino has this silent but subtle way of expressing her feelings about things. It's almost as if it's held captive within her professionalism, not to mention that the position that she has somewhat feels as if she's held prisoner by it. However, in the most pivotal times, how she feels peeks her head out every now and then publicly, but mostly behind the scenes. How season 1 ended was definitely eventful, and revelations that may drastically change the nature of relationships with people, if they allow it, that is. Also, there are a whole lot of enemies and big baddies who may be laying in wake on the horizon. During the time of this review, you can watch Kaiju No. 8 via the subscription-based service Crunchyroll. There's also a film entitled Mission Recon, which will kind of be a recap of season 1 with some exclusive footage not in the original series. And not too long after that, we will be having season 2, and can't wait for that one. But until next time, peace.